Whilst Bitcoin is taking off, do not go to sleep on some of these other major opportunities, right? Basically, Bitcoin is very high now, right? At almost 100K. And remember, Pablo was telling you guys that Bitcoin was going to 94K when it was only in the 60s. Now you got to do the opposite. Now try to get into stuff that are pulling back, that are falling, that people aren't interested in right now. And that is gold and silver. Look at silver. Historical chart of silver shows it's hit an all-time high of like $52 twice in history, right? For the last 50 years or so. And now silver is only barely like $33. So it still has a lot room to run. If the financial markets melt down, silver would reassume its role as a monetary metal, just like gold will be. But what about some of these other metals on top of gold and silver in what they call the PGM metals, which is the platinum group of metals? So obviously it would include platinum, palladium, rhodium, oscillum, probably metals that you haven't heard before, but they can do massive big runs. They're all considered precious metals. So for example, this is palladium, right? Which ran up to like about $3,600, right? Starting from like about less than $500. So that's like a 7x run. Whereas here, if you go back to 2009, right, it's basically over a space of like 15 years. It started from like below $200. So this was like a 19x run for palladium. Now this is even more crazy. This is called rhodium, right? Rhodium, and it basically had a run for 4 years. It ran up like 60x. Right, so these are all precious metals, right, that are considered in the same vein as platinum, as palladium, right? They're basically can be bought at gold and silver dealers, and they can make these amazing runs, right, when the cycle comes. And finally, we arrive at the star of today, right, and that is platinum. Platinum basically had this massive run up at above $2,000, and then it's been stuck around this $800, $900 area, and now it's just popped above $1,000. It could come back down again, but the floor price, unless a COVID type crash happens, seems to be around this low 800s area. Now the lesson we just learned by looking at all those charts is that given a 10 or 20 year period of time, everything has a run, right? Everything has its own cycle of boom and bust, just like the waves in the ocean. Doesn't matter if it's gold or silver or palladium or rhodium, they can have these big runs. So platinum, being another precious metal, is due for a run and may not happen for another 3 or 5 years. But if the government was to print money like what Ray Dalio is worried about, yes, of course, gold would take off. Probably Bitcoin would take off as well. And silver would take off, right? And chances are something like platinum would also take off, right? Because everything else in the PGM group or platinum group metals has already taken off. So why not platinum? I'm not saying this is going to happen this week, this month, or this year or next year, but eventually platinum could take off, and it's already been down for like 15 years. What do you think? Is that the answer we're looking for? Let me know in the comments.